fathomless hush blanketed everything until a voice shattered the silence with a single line. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In that instant, darkness obeyed, and brightness burst through the void like a cosmic flashbang. Time itself formed its first rhythm as day and night took turns on the newborn stage. Ancient Hebrew writers used the verb amar, he spoke, to show that raw speech, not hammer and chisel, forged reality. Every word we utter still echoes that pattern. Language has power to divide chaos from clarity. Some readers picture a literal 24-hour sunrise. Others see a poetic sweep across eons. Whichever view you lean toward, the lesson hits the same. The universe answers when purpose calls it by name. Light wasn't merely illumination, it was a declaration. Order is possible. And yet, that first gleam only set the tempo. The next move would carve out an unseen barrier, one that still shields every breath you take. Nobody saw it form, yet everything alive depends on it. And God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters." The Genesis chapter 1, verse 6 to 7. The ancient word rakia paints a picture of a vast hammered-out vault, an invisible shield that pushed chaotic waters upward and sealed them off like a cosmic dam. Modern scientists talk about stratospheres, magnetospheres, and ozone layers. Genesis simply calls it an expanse and moves on. But the principle is stunning. Before life could thrive, order had to erect boundaries that no eye could trace, proving that the most critical frameworks often remain hidden. What does that mean for us? Progress begins when we separate overwhelm from opportunity, when we raise a clear sky over the chaos below. The first environment God perfected wasn't soil or sea, but the protective shell around them, reminding us that unseen discipline is the launching pad for visible growth. Yet once the heavens were in place, something dramatic stirred beneath the surface. A landscape was about to rise where only swirling depths had been, setting the stage for a self-seeding world you'd eventually call home. An unseen tremor rippled to the deep. Then a command sliced the waters like a knife. "Let the dry ground appear." The seas recoiled, and out of the swirling abyss rose solid earth. Land defined by nothing but a spoken word, Genesis 1:9. Moments later came an even more radical order. "Let the land produce vegetation, plants yielding seed, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it." Genesis 1:11. For the first time, life carried its own future inside itself. Seeds tucked silent blueprints into every leaf and berry, ensuring tomorrow before today had even finished. Notice what's missing. No mythical gods battling monsters, no cosmic tug-of-war. Just disciplined speech turning chaos into predictable cycles. And built right into those cycles is sustainability, growth that doesn't cannibalize itself. The ground was told to host an economy of abundance, and it did so without protest. Yet even this flourishing landscape lacked one essential element: a way to mark time, celebrate seasons, and steer the planet's brand new rhythm. Everything alive would soon look skyward for its cosmic calendar, and what appeared overhead would humble every ancient superstition. Then the sky received its grand assignment. Let there be lights in the vault of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times, days, and years. Genesis 1:14-15. In one stroke, sun, moon, and stars went from divine beings in pagan lore to mere timekeepers in God's workshop. Genesis demotes what ancient cultures worshipped, calling them lamps hung for humanity's benefit. They exist not to be adored, but to measure mornings, festivals, and harvests. quietly choreographing the planet's pulse. That demotion still rattles worldviews today. Young Earth advocates see literal 24-hour beacons. Old Earth readers picture epochs unfolding under cosmic spotlights billions of years apart. Yet, whichever timeline you follow, the lesson shines the same. Never mistake a useful tool for the source of meaning. Technology, influence, even celestial wonders, none deserve the throne they illuminate. By verse 19, there was evening and there was morning again, but this time under a calibrated clock that would guide migrations, tides, and human calendars for millennia. The stage lights now blazed overhead, the set was complete, and the audience, every creature yet to breathe, waited in the wings. But with the heavens humming, the next eruption of life wouldn't come from the ground at all. It would surge from depths and skies in a frenzy no one saw coming. Then the sky received its grand assignment. Let there be lights in the vault of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times, days, and years. Genesis 1:14-15. In one stroke, sun, moon, and stars went from divine beings in pagan lore to mere timekeepers in God's workshop. Genesis demotes what ancient cultures worshipped, calling them lamps hung for humanity's benefit. They exist not to be adored, but to measure mornings, festivals, and harvests, quietly choreographing the planet's pulse. That demotion still rattles worldviews today. Young Earth advocates see literal 24-hour beacons. Old Earth readers picture epochs unfolding under cosmic spotlights billions of years apart. Yet, whichever timeline you follow, the lesson shines the same. Never mistake a useful tool for the source of meaning. Technology, influence, even celestial wonders, none deserve the throne they illuminate. By verse 19, there was evening and there was morning again, but this time under a calibrated clock that would guide migrations, tides, and human calendars for millennia. The stage lights now blazed overhead, the set was complete, and the audience, every creature yet to breathe, waited in the wings. But with the heavens humming, the next eruption of life wouldn't come from the ground at all. It would surge from depths and skies in a frenzy no one saw coming. A hush lingered over the waves, then the silence shattered with another decree. Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds soar above the earth across the vault of the sky. Genesis 1, verse 20. Instantly, the seas erupted like a shaken bottle, releasing flickers of silver, flashes of color, and swirling schools that moved as if choreographed. The Hebrew text doubles the verb for swarm, hammering home overflowing vitality. Life didn't trickle in, it burst its banks. Meanwhile, the newly minted atmosphere became a playground for feathered pioneers, each wing beat writing invisible calligraphy across the blue. Why start with fish and flyers? Depths and heights are the planet's hardest places to police, yet God populates them first, signaling that abundance often begins where human eyes rarely linger. Even more radical, verse 22 records the first explicit blessing in Scripture, a divine, "Be fruitful and multiply." Growth isn't a grudging add-on, it's the default setting for creation. Here lies a lesson for every would-be steward. Systems flourish when we champion life, not when we merely extract it. Notice, too, the pattern. Every creature reproduces according to its kind, echoing the seed principle we saw on land. Order and diversity aren't rivals, they're dance partners. And tucked in that genetic choreography is a whisper of promise. What thrives today is meant to spark tomorrow. Yet even this aquatic avian spectacle was just a prelude. A final act loomed, one that would stare back at its maker and carry the weight of his very likeness. What happens when creation finally sees itself in a mirror? The ground shuddered as if it knew something unprecedented was coming. Let the earth bring forth living creatures, and at once hoofbeats, growls, and soft padding feet filled the new world. Genesis 1:24. Yet amid that surge of fur and muscle, Another command thundered. Let us make humanity in our image, after our likeness. Genesis 1:26. In a breath, dust became destiny. Every ancient culture crowned only kings as divine reflections. Genesis tears off that velvet rope and declares every man and woman royal by design. Scholars still debate the phrase, image of God. Is it creativity, conscience, authority, or all of the above? Wherever you land, the shock stands. You were sculpted to echo a creator, not merely to survive. Male and female he created them, verse 27, folding complementary strength into the very blueprint of humanity. Identity here isn't a social construct, it's cosmic DNA. And unlike the creatures that multiply according to their kind, humans carry a mandate far larger than biology. Steward the story, shape the future, and reflect glory in every choice. But a mirror alone cannot act. A crown must come with marching orders. What exactly were these first royals told to do? And how did their initial diet spark a debate that still rages today? A crown was placed. Then came the decree. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and every living thing that moves on the ground. Genesis 1:28. In one breath, humanity received both a blessing and a job description. Expand life and govern it responsibly. Notice the verbs. Fill, subdue, rule. They're active, not passive. Creation isn't a museum to tiptoe through, it's a kingdom to cultivate. Yet this authority isn't a license to ravage, because the very next line reshapes power with provision. I give you every seed-bearing plant. They will be yours for food. Verses 29 to 30. The first menu is plant-based, hinting that leadership starts with restraint, not consumption. Look closer. The mandate pairs multiplication with management. Grow, but guard. Produce, but preserve. It's a pattern still echoing in debates on climate care, ethical farming, and sustainable tech. Genesis frames stewardship as proactive guardianship, not reactive cleanup. When we exploit without tending, we break rank with our original charter. But embedded in this ancient assignment is a foreshadowing tension. Can human beings wield power without warping it? History answers with mixed reviews. And even within Scripture, the next chapters will expose fractures in this grand design. Yet for a fleeting moment, on day 6, everything pulsed in harmony. Creation crowned, resources assigned, purpose clear. One verdict remained to be spoken, and when it fell, it would seal the week with a single, resonant word: